Hi everyone. Welcome to English Story School. Have you ever felt like you're on the edge, about to break through, but then you hit that wall? You tried everything, but success feels like it's slipping through your fingers. What if I told you that the world you want, the success you dream of, is already yours to take? And all it takes is one thing: waking up the beast inside you. Sounds impossible? Let me show you how it's not. You see, everyone has a beast inside of them, a raw, untamed energy, a drive so powerful it could tear down any wall, demolish every obstacle. But here's the problem. Most people never wake that beast up. Why? Because they're scared. Scared of the effort, scared of the pain, scared of the power they would unlock. They think it's easier to stay comfortable than to fight for the greatness they were born for. But let me ask you this. How long can you stay comfortable before you get tired of the same old, same old? How long before you realize that you're not meant to be average, but extraordinary? Chapter 1. The Awakening. The story begins with a young man named Ryan. Ryan had dreams, big ones, just like all of us. But, like many, he found himself at a crossroads. He was stuck. Life had handed him plenty of setbacks, and the fire he once had seemed to be dimming by the day. He had the potential to do great things, but something was always in the way. Fear, doubt, the nagging feeling that maybe, just maybe, he wasn't cut out for anything more than the life he had. Ryan's world was a constant cycle of highs and lows. He'd get excited about a new project, only to lose steam halfway through. He'd set goals, but before long, they'd slip through his fingers. He was tired of watching others move forward while he stayed stagnant. He was tired of waiting for the perfect moment to take action. And deep inside, he knew he was capable of so much more. But why wasn't he getting there? What was holding him back? It wasn't just the world around him. It was the monster inside him, the one that kept him in a state of fear and hesitation. Ryan wasn't afraid of the challenges. He was afraid of his own potential. Every time he thought of making a bold move, the voice inside him said, "What if you fail? What if you fall flat on your face?" The fear of not being good enough haunted him, and for a long time, that fear kept him paralyzed. Then, one day, everything shifted. Ryan hit rock bottom. He lost his job, the one thing that had given him a sense of security and purpose. Without it, he felt like he had lost everything. His bank account was empty. His heart was heavy. His self-confidence shattered. Every mirror he looked into reflected the same person. A person who was stuck, who had no idea how to move forward. Weeks passed, and Ryan sank deeper into despair. He isolated himself from his friends and family. He questioned everything about himself. Was he destined to live a life of mediocrity? Was this his reality now? But during this dark period of uncertainty, something began to stir within him. It wasn't immediate, it wasn't easy, but in the pit of his despair, a small voice inside him started to whisper, "You are more than this. You are capable of more than this. It's time to wake up." The beast inside him, the one that had been dormant for so long, began to stir. At first, Ryan didn't even recognize it. The beast wasn't angry or destructive. It was the raw, untapped energy of possibility. It was the fire that had always been there, hidden behind layers of fear and doubt. Ryan didn't know it yet, but that beast was about to wake up, and it would change everything. One morning, after yet another sleepless night of wrestling with his thoughts, Ryan stood in front of the bathroom mirror. His eyes were red from exhaustion. His face was a little thinner from the stress, and his posture slumped in defeat. But then, as he stared at his reflection, something inside him snapped. A question rose from the depths of his soul. Am I going to stay stuck, or am I going to fight for everything I deserve? It was a simple question, but it was the one that had the power to change everything. Ryan realized in that moment that he wasn't waiting for permission. He wasn't waiting for the universe to hand him success on a silver platter. No one was coming to save him. If he wanted more, he would have to fight for it. The days of self-pity and complacency were over. And then it happened. The beast inside him roared to life. Ryan didn't just make a decision. He made a commitment. He was no longer going to be a passive observer in his own life. He was going to take control. The fire in him grew, burning away the fear, the doubts, and the excuses. The beast inside him didn't just wake up. It came alive with purpose, power, and unshakable determination. From that moment on, Ryan's mindset shifted. He didn't look at his failures as roadblocks. He saw them as stepping stones. Every failure, every setback, every obstacle was just another opportunity to grow stronger. His focus was no longer on the destination, but on the journey. The small steps, the daily grind, the constant push to break through every barrier and level up. Ryan understood that greatness wasn't about waiting for the perfect moment or for everything to fall into place. It was about waking up every day ready to fight. It was about getting back up every time life knocked him down. It was about taking the risks that scared him the most, knowing that the only way to fail was to give up. The world wasn't going to hand Ryan anything. He knew that now, but the world was his to take if he was willing to fight for it. And so, Ryan's journey began. The beast had awoken, and it was unstoppable. The world was no longer a place of fear and uncertainty. It was a place of opportunity, and Ryan was ready to claim it. Every step from this point forward would lead him closer to the life he had always dreamed of. A life of greatness. A life where he was in control, not a victim of circumstances. The world was his to take, and he was going to take it. Chapter 2. The Struggle. Waking the beast wasn't easy. Ryan quickly learned that it wasn't a magic switch that would suddenly turn his life around. No, this was a battle that would test his strength, his willpower, and his spirit in ways he had never imagined. As soon as he decided to take control of his life, as soon as he made that commitment to stop waiting for life to hand him success, the universe decided to throw everything it could at him. His friends thought he was crazy. They laughed at his newfound drive, mocking him for trying to change his life. "What are you doing, man?" they asked. "You've got it easy. Why risk it all?" They didn't understand. The truth was, they didn't want him to succeed. They couldn't see the fire burning inside him, so they tried to put it out with their doubts and negativity. But Ryan didn't listen. He had already made up his mind. The beast inside him was awake, and nothing was going to stop him now. His family was no different. They were concerned, unsure of his new path. They feared for him, wanted him to play it safe, to do things the way everyone else did. But Ryan knew that the way everyone else did things was the reason he was stuck in the first place. He couldn't follow the same path. He had to carve his own. Yet, the more he pushed forward, the more resistance he encountered. Life seemed determined to knock him down at every turn. Doors slammed in his face. Opportunities slipped through his fingers. Rejection after rejection. Yet, each time he faced defeat, the beast inside him didn't grow weaker. It grew stronger. Ryan wasn't deterred by the pain. He didn't fear rejection. Instead, he used it as fuel. The more life told him no, the harder he pushed. He was driven by something deeper now, something beyond ambition. He was driven by purpose. He didn't just want success. He wanted to prove that he was capable of more than the world had given him credit for. Ryan worked day and night. He threw himself into his work, his studies, his goals. He studied like his life depended on it, because in a sense it did. Every book he read, every skill he mastered, was one step closer to the man he wanted to become. He embraced every failure, every setback, as a lesson. He knew that the journey wouldn't be easy, but he was willing to fight for it. He pushed through every challenge, knowing that each obstacle was a test of his will, his strength, and his commitment. But here's the twist in Ryan's story. He wasn't fighting alone. The beast inside him didn't just give him strength. It gave him something even more powerful: allies. As Ryan continued to push forward, people began to take notice of his transformation. They saw the fire in his eyes, the passion in his heart, and the determination in his every move. They saw him rising not just out of desperation, but out of purpose. And they want to be a part of that journey. People who had once doubted him, who had written him off as another dreamer, started to approach him. They came to him for advice, for guidance, for inspiration. Ryan didn't just become a man on a mission. He became a leader. And this was where things got interesting. As the beast inside him continued to roar louder and stronger, Ryan realized that this wasn't just about him anymore. This was bigger than him. The beast was not just power, it was his purpose. It was what would leave a lasting legacy. And that's when everything clicked. Ryan had spent so many years chasing the wrong thing, the easy path, the comfortable life, the quick rewards. But now, he understood something that had eluded him for so long. Greatness wasn't about personal gain or recognition. It was about the impact you leave. It was about how you inspire others to rise up alongside you. The beast inside him wasn't just a force of will. It was a force of inspiration. Every person who came to him for guidance saw something in Ryan that they wanted for themselves. They saw his unwavering belief in his mission, his ability to overcome adversity, and the way he continued to rise even when the world tried to keep him down. It was contagious. Ryan didn't just wake the beast inside him. He awakened the beast in others. They wanted to rise, they wanted to thrive, and they wanted to leave their own legacies. And that's the twist. The more Ryan embraced his own journey, the more people started joining him. His struggle became their struggle. His rise became their rise. The beast inside him wasn't just there to break his chains. It was there to help break the chains of everyone around him. He became more than just a man on a mission. He became a catalyst for change. Ryan's life wasn't just about surviving anymore. It was about thriving. It wasn't about personal victories. It was about collective victories. It wasn't about leaving a mark on the world. It was about inspiring others to leave their own. The beast had awakened, and it wasn't just about Ryan anymore. It was about every person who looked to him for strength, every person who felt inspired by his journey, every person who knew that if Ryan could do it, so could they. The struggle wasn't over yet. It had only just begun. But Ryan wasn't afraid. He had the strength to push through. The fire inside him was unstoppable, and it was only a matter of time before the world would see that the beast was no longer a myth. It was real, and it was here to stay. Chapter 3, The Breakthrough. Ryan had already come a long way. The beast within him had roared to life, and now there was no turning back. But here's the thing. He wasn't chasing success for the fame, money, or recognition. Those things were fleeting. No, Ryan was after something far more powerful, far more lasting. Freedom. The freedom to live life on his own terms. The freedom to achieve everything he once thought was impossible. As the days and weeks passed, Ryan's transformation became undeniable. The man who once doubted himself, the man who was stuck in a cycle of failures, was now breaking through every barrier that had once held him back. It wasn't easy, far from it, but he had grown to embrace the struggle. Pain had become his fuel, rejection had become his stepping stone, and every sleepless night had added to his resolve. He knew what he was fighting for now. He wasn't just trying to succeed. He was fighting for his freedom, the freedom to choose his destiny, to live on his own terms, to take control of his life. And then, after months of grinding, after countless sleepless nights, After pushing past every obstacle in his path, Ryan had his breakthrough. It wasn't immediate. It wasn't handed to him on a silver platter. But it came, and when it did, it came in the form of a deal that would change everything. The day he walked into that room, the world could no longer ignore him. Ryan wasn't just another man trying to make a name for himself. No, when he entered that room, he was a force of nature. His presence filled the space. His confidence radiated from every pore, and the energy in the room shifted. People looked at him, and they saw something different, something powerful, something undeniable. This wasn't just a man who had worked hard. This was a man who had earned his seat at the table, a man who had fought through the darkness, who had awakened the beast within him, and now he was standing in the light of his own greatness. His breakthrough wasn't just about the deal itself. It was about everything that had led up to that moment. Every failure, every struggle, every rejection, every sleepless night had led to this. Ryan had realized something in that room, in the silence before the deal was sealed. The beast inside him had taken control. No longer was he the man who wondered if he was enough. No longer was he the man who hesitated, who doubted, who played small. Now, he was a man of action, a man of power. He had become the force that he had always dreamed of becoming. But it wasn't just about this one deal, this one moment of success. It was about what came next. Because in that moment, Ryan realized something even bigger. The world is yours to take if you dare to wake the beast within. It wasn't about luck. It wasn't about waiting for opportunities to come to him. It was about taking life by the reins and creating his own opportunities. It was about knowing that nothing was impossible if he had the courage to go after it. The deal was the validation he needed. It proved that the beast inside him wasn't just a fantasy. It was a reality. It wasn't a one-time fluke or a lucky break. It was a mindset, a way of being. Ryan had finally stepped into the man he was always meant to be. But the truth was, the deal itself wasn't the biggest reward. The real reward was the transformation he had gone through to get there. The freedom he had fought for wasn't just a freedom from financial struggle or from the opinions of others. It was a freedom from the chains of self-doubt, from the limitations he had placed on himself for years. Ryan had unlocked his true potential, and that was the breakthrough. As he walked out of that room, deal in hand, something inside him clicked. This wasn't the end of his journey. It was just the beginning. The beast within him had been awakened, and now it was time to unleash it fully. Ryan wasn't just living life anymore. He was leading it, and he wasn't going to stop. The breakthrough wasn't a destination. It was a launch pad. And now, with the beast in control, there was no telling where he would go from here. The world had always been there for the taking. It had been waiting for Ryan to wake up, to realize his own power, and to take the leap. And now that he had done it, there was no stopping him. He wasn't just another man trying to make it. He was a force to be reckoned with. Chapter 4. The Rise. Ryan's success wasn't just a flash in the pan. No, the moment the beast inside him was awakened, something shifted permanently. There was no turning back now. Every single day became an opportunity, a challenge to climb higher, to push further, and to break new barriers that would have once seemed impossible. What Ryan had learned through his struggle wasn't just for him anymore. He knew that his journey had to serve a bigger purpose. And so, every lesson, every hardship, every moment of self-doubt became fuel for his new mission, to inspire and help others awaken their own beasts. It wasn't about just chasing his personal success anymore. It was about building something bigger, something that would ripple through the world long after he was gone. Ryan had always known that greatness wasn't a solitary pursuit. He wasn't the type to rise and leave others behind. He was determined to take people with him, to help them see what he had discovered, the power within to change their own lives, to rewrite their own stories. So he started sharing. He didn't hold back. Every moment of clarity he had, every breakthrough he experienced, every tactic that helped him get past a roadblock, he shared it with those around him. He became a mentor, a guide, a leader. People began to take notice of the fire inside him, and soon they were drawn to him. They came with their own struggles, their own doubts, their own beasts that needed awakening. And Ryan, who had once been lost, now had the tools and the wisdom to guide them out of the darkness and into their own light. But here's where it got interesting. The more he helped others rise, the more Ryan realized something crucial. The real reward, the real success, wasn't about the fame or the money that came with his rise. It wasn't about being admired or getting the recognition. No, the true reward lay in the impact he had on people's lives. The ability to change lives, to give others the courage to step into their own power, to help them realize that they too could awaken their beast. That was the ultimate victory. Ryan saw people transforming before his eyes. The hesitant, uncertain souls who had come to him for guidance began to walk with confidence. They started to believe in themselves. They started to take action. And it wasn't just about their careers or their financial situation anymore. It was about their entire outlook on life. They had discovered their own power, their own potential, and they were no longer afraid to unleash it. What Ryan didn't expect, though, was how the more he helped others, the more he learned about himself. Every time he coached someone, every time he saw their life change, he became a better version of himself. The more people he inspired, the stronger the beast inside him grew. It was a cycle of growth, his and theirs, fueling each other in an unbreakable loop. As he saw others rise, so did he. But Ryan's rise wasn't just about personal success. It wasn't even just about the people he helped along the way. It was about creating something bigger, a movement of unstoppable individuals who, like him, had awoken their own beasts. It was about shaping a new wave of people who didn't wait for things to happen to them. They made things happen. They weren't afraid to take risks, to fail, to get back up and try again. They had the courage to step into their greatness and the discipline to stay there. Ryan wasn't just rising. He was leading a revolution of people who were no longer content with mediocrity. A revolution of people who took control of their lives and didn't let fear or doubt hold them back. It was contagious. People all over began to see that there was a way out of the rut, a way out of the cycle of waiting for life to give them something. They didn't have to be stuck anymore. They could rise too. The impact of Ryan's journey and his rise wasn't something that could be measured in dollars or accolades. It was measured in the lives changed, in the stories of people who had gone from struggling to thriving, from wondering if they could make it to believing in themselves so fully that they knew they were destined for greatness. It wasn't just Ryan's rise anymore. It was a collective rise, a movement of people who understood that the beast inside them was more than just a force for personal gain. It was a force to change the world. And that's what Ryan had unlocked. Not just his own potential, but the potential of an entire generation of people ready to rise, thrive, and inspire. The world wasn't just his to take. It was theirs too. Chapter 5, The Legacy. Ryan stood at the pinnacle of his success, his heart racing, but not from fear or anxiety. No, this was the feeling of accomplishment, of knowing that every step he had taken, every challenge he had faced, had brought him to this moment. He had been through the pain, the struggles, the doubts that threatened to break him. And yet, here he was on top of the world. But as he looked back, he didn't see failure or mistakes. He saw lessons, stepping stones that had shaped him into who he had become. Ryan's smile was not one of arrogance. but one of understanding. He had been through the depths, the nights where he doubted everything, but he had made it through. And now, standing tall, he realized that this success, this feeling of conquering the impossible, wasn't just for him. It was for everyone who had been watching, who had been struggling, who had been waiting for their own moment to rise. It's an incredible thing to wake up to the full potential of who you are. When Ryan woke the beast inside of him, the world around him had shifted. It wasn't just about him conquering his dreams anymore. No, it was about showing others that they could do the same. It was about creating a ripple effect that spread outwards, a chain reaction of people discovering their own power, their own beast. Together, they were going to change the world. This wasn't about individual glory or accolades. This was about legacy, the impact he could leave behind. Because legacy isn't built by what you do alone. It's built by how many people you inspire to do the same. It's built on the idea that when you step into your greatness, you don't just rise alone. You rise with everyone who's been watching you, learning from you, being moved by your journey. Ryan understood that his true success wasn't defined by the title he held, or the deals he closed, or the money he made. It was defined by the lives he touched, by the people who looked at him and thought, if he can do it, so can I. And in that moment, Ryan realized something even deeper. He had become a beacon for others. He was no longer just a man living his own dream. He was a leader, a catalyst of change for others to follow. As the years went by, Ryan's impact continued to grow. The people he had mentored, the ones who had come to him seeking guidance, became leaders themselves. And just like that, the revolution had begun. What started with one person, one small decision to wake the beast, had transformed into a movement. And it wasn't about him anymore. It was about the people who had taken his teachings and made them their own. Every day, as Ryan looked at the world he had helped shape, he understood that the true legacy wasn't in the stories of success. It was in the countless others who had risen because of him. He had sparked something that could never be extinguished. And that was the true victory. The world had been changed by the simple act of waking up to your own potential and encouraging others to do the same. So what's the takeaway here? The world is yours to take. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start. There is no such thing as the perfect moment. The only moment that matters is right now, the moment you decide to wake the beast inside of you. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let self-doubt stop you. You've already got everything inside of you that you need to succeed. It's time to take control. The beast has been waiting, and it's time to set it free. Step into your greatness and let nothing stand in your way. And remember, when you rise, you don't rise alone. Together, we'll change the world. And there you have it. Ryan's story is proof that we all have the power to wake the beast inside of us. The world isn't something you wait for. It's something you take. And it's waiting for you to grab it. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.